Okay, class, that was the end of the lecture today. Does anyone have any questions?
Ooh, I have a question.
Yes, what is your question, Luke?
What is DNA and how much DNA is in our bodies?
DNA is actually a macromolecule made up of individual nucleotides that join together to form a double helix shape, which is basically like a twisted around ladder. And in DNA, there are 4 possible nucleotides: cytosine, guanine, adenine, and thymine. And all 4 of these nucleotides join up with one another to form specific base pair bonds. For example, cytosine can only be paired up with guanine, while adenine can only be paired up with thymine. Additionally, DNA is seen as the blueprint of all life because it contains instruction for an organism to grow, reproduce, survive, and develop. And for your second question, Luke, the amount of DNA in a body depends on its overall size. For example, an average human body has around 37.2 trillion cells, with each cell nucleus containing around 2 meters of DNA. And if we multiply that together, that means there are about 74.4 trillion meters of DNA within the average human body.
I have a few questions too.
Yes, what are your questions, Mom?
Where did COVID-19 originate from? And what is the difference between a bacteria and a virus?
After extensive research, I actually found out that COVID-19 was caused by coronavirus, commonly found in bats, which evolved through natural processes to adapt to our own human bodies and respiratory systems. However, recent studies show that instead of a direct transfer from bats to humans, there is actually an intermediary species between us two. And many scientists suggest that this intermediary species were pangolins, which are anteater-like animals which are illegally traded in Southeast Asia and South Asia. Additionally, many sources state that COVID-19 emerged from the Hubei province in Wuhan, China, after discovering that the very first patients of COVID-19 all had links to this very location. In the Hubei province, they have a large seafood and animal market, where these patients probably contracted the disease through contact with the various animals, most likely the pangolin. After further studies, we also found that COVID-19 is similar to viruses such as MERS and SARS, which were also found to be evolved, adapted coronaviruses commonly found in bats as well. To follow up with your second question, Mom, bacteria and viruses are different in several ways. For example, viruses are much smaller than bacteria and are not considered living, while bacteria is considered living because it is a prokaryotic cell. Because of this reason, bacteria consist of cellular structures such as a cellular membrane, ribosomes, and cytoplasm. In contrast, viruses are only pieces of genetic material, which can be RNA or DNA, surrounded by a protein coat and a lipid membrane. Another reason why viruses and bacteria are different from each other is because viruses are considered parasitic. For bacteria to reproduce, they can simply go through cellular division or mitosis. On the other hand, with viruses, they need to hijack a healthy cell for their genetic material to be copied and reproduced. Any other final questions?
Wait, I have one more question.
Yes.
Why is it so hard to find a cure for the common cold?
The reason why it's so hard to find a cure for the common cold is because there's at least 160 different types of strains of this common viral infection that affects our respiratory system. Because of this reason, it is extremely hard to create a vaccine that will target all 160 different types of strains. Additionally, scientists could not truly predict the types of strains that will show up each cold season, mainly because there are only 20 to 30 different strains of this common respiratory virus that circulate within one geographic area per cold season. Another reason why we don't have a cure for the common cold is because it's not really seen as a life-threatening disease. And although the cold is a burden to humanity, scientists aren't really rushing to find a cure for this and instead using their time to fight against life-threatening diseases.